Should you be sorry for slips of the tongue?
Na ja, und what about the slips of the pen?
Any kind of slip.
Leistungsfehler.
Sliced tongue feathers?
Leistungsfehler, performance errors, meaning any behavioral gesture that you do not intend to make and that you even make a conscious effort to suppress, but that you end up making nonetheless.
Unconsciously.
Unconsciously, precisely, and which therefore reveals a hidden inner desire of your not quite civilized self.
What Hasidic teaching calls your animal self.
Animal, yes, very well. In psychoanalytic nomenclature, we like to refer to it as the it inside the eye. In Latin, id.
Tomatoes.
But let's not get distracted from your question. Why should anyone feel sorry, guilty for things done unconsciously? Slips.
Okay, here's the thing. Let's take a case described in the 5th chapter of Leviticus. It says, if a person sins with respect to any of the Lord's commands, but without knowing he did so, he is guilty and shall bear his iniquity.
But das ist Quatsch, preposterous. Guilty without knowing? Can you give an example of such a case?
For example, a person sits down to eat a sumptuous dish of savory mixed meats, and in this mixture there are pieces of meat marbled with kosher fat, but also, unfortunately, some pieces with non-kosher fat, what's known as chalev.
And this person doesn't know he is eating non-kosher fat?
That's right, but later he's informed that one of the fatty pieces that he ate might not have been kosher.
Might have, so even post facto it remains an unknown?
Nevertheless, due to the sheer possibility, he has to bring an offering to the temple to atone for his undecided possible transgression, what's known as an asham talui, an offering of undecided guilt.
Such a complex guilt complex.
And if that's not enough, you ready for this?
I don't know. Should I lie down?
The price of the offering that he has to bring to the temple to atone for his uncertain sin is 48 times the price of a regular sin offering.
I think I will lie down presently, but please explicate.
The explication is really a psychological one.
Please don't use that word too liberally.
Typically speaking, when a person sins inadvertently as a matter of negligence.
Like eating a non-kosher Wiener Schnitzel?
Yes, as a matter of negligence, meaning he could have inquired more carefully into the meat used to make the schnitzel, and later he discovers, unfortunately, that the meat came from a cow that...
Wiener Schnitzel.
He discovers that the meat came from a calf that was not slaughtered according to halachic standards. In this case, the person can atone for his negligence by bringing a chatat offering, a sin offering, to the temple.
You make it sound like there is some blemish in his psyche, or as you would say, his soul, that he must wash away.
If you don't like the word blemish, why not call it neurosis?
Nein, das geht nicht. Please, Neurose. This term applies to unnecessary guilt feelings, whereas you speak of guilt as a very real phenomenon.
Fair enough. The point is simply that there's some type of disturbance deep in the psyche that manifests itself in inappropriate behavior.
I see. Now we're really getting somewhere. Yes, after all, the conscious part of the psyche is really just the tip of the iceberg. The real full substance of the psyche lies submerged in the ocean of the subconscious.
Which is precisely why an inadvertent unconscious slip says a lot more about the true, fuller self.
This is very psychological.
Right?
Although the offering brought to the temple is part of a therapeutic becoming aware of how this slip reveals a disturbance in the psyche.
Etymology of atonement.
At one meant. Yes, I know this. I like this etymology very much. But tell me, what are we to do with the case of a patient who is simply in denial and has no interest in becoming at one with his total psyche.
That's precisely the case of the asham talui, the undecided guilt, when the patient is quite satisfied with himself and blesses himself in his heart and convinces himself that although officially speaking the guilt is undecided, he's probably innocent. In such a case, the neurosis runs quite deep.
Self-justification, as if the connection of his ego to his id were yet stronger than in ordinary cases of slippage.
He has allowed himself to identify so deeply with his animal self, his id, that he's simply oblivious to his inner disturbances.
Hence the need for more drastic, more costly measures of therapy. 48 times the regular price. Interesting. And so, by comparison with an apology for an insult made deliberately, for an insult that results as a slip of the tongue, one should be 48 times sorrier.
Herr Doctor, you could have become a rabbi.
Meine Mutter, yes, my mother used to say I should have, could have.
Should have?
Could have.
You said should have.
No, it was just a...
Just a slip?